Asset inventory is how we know what we have to work with. Think of it like putting together a recipe. You're going to think, what do I have in my cupboard? You're going to walk over there and you're going to pull out all the ingredients you do have out of the fridge and the cupboard and realize you're missing 2 or 3 things. But basically, you could make your recipe. Then you have to decide, can I go ahead and make this item without the other ingredients that I'm missing? Can I substitute? Can I substitute onion powder for onion because I don't have any fresh onions? Can I do the same for garlic powder because I don't have any fresh garlic? Maybe those are the 2 things you're missing, and you're going to go ahead and make that soup anyway. I think it's going to be a mighty fine soup with the onion powder and garlic powder, and the rest of it, you have all the other fixings for making the soup. So, if we are asset inventorying our personal assets, we can look at our home. We've been talking a lot about rental and short-term rental, house hacking, long-term rentals, owning outside, and a lot of folks are very interested in what I have to say about that. And we'll keep talking about rental and physical assets around your house and that sort of thing. Some people own a car that it's completely appropriate to do Uber driving or Lyft driving with. My husband does that once in a while. He really enjoys it. And I'll tell you, he enjoys it for far more than money. My husband loves to drive Uber, and because he gets to talk to someone other than me. And he's really upset when we're in our area of our more rural area where Uber really isn't needed. But one day he turned on his Uber app and someone needed a lift to a major airport hub, and they wanted to pay him $200 to be driven in our economy car, our Prius, to get to the airport, and he would have to then drive back. He was delighted. Me, I'd say, I'd spend my whole day driving. He loved the driving, but more importantly, he loved meeting a new friend and really chatting on the way. And thank goodness that fella that needed to get to the airport also really enjoyed chatting along the way. Please take a moment and like this video and subscribe to this channel. So that's an asset. Our Prius car we own is an asset that my husband uses for Uber in his 4th quarter, his retirement, right? He's earning a little money, but mostly he's really feeling useful, helpful, and meeting some new friends. So that's an asset that you can write down on your asset inventory. But when I talk about asset inventory, many times I'm talking about gifts, personal gifts, intelligence, hobbies, experiences that you've had. I'll have another example of a friend of mine who writes curriculum in her retirement. She works specifically with museums, and she writes curriculum around their displays. And I had been working with a nonprofit that had a very large grant to do a beautiful display experience within the museum. And not my area, but I was helping to put together the funding and all of the things that went with it. And this person was recommended by another museum, and I got to know her, and it was a delight. She and her friend were both retired teachers who wrote curriculum. And they were elementary science teachers. And they had spent a goodly portion of their retirement, because they were getting ready to set aside this portion of their retirement. They'd done it so long, writing curriculum with museums. Some of them very famous museums. Our little museum we were working with was not a famous one, but they were delighted to be hired to help us write the curriculum. I have since worked with them a couple more times and recommended them. So there's an example of retired teachers using their experience within curriculum to build the assets in their retirement, to the paycheck that funds their retirement. Here's another example of an asset that you might have, again, around teaching. I have a couple of friends who teach virtually in their retirement to young Chinese students, teaching them English. Now, they were elementary school teachers, not science teachers, so they teach one-on-one, tutor almost, young Chinese children on speaking English. They don't speak Chinese at all, but there is an organization that hires and works one-on-one with Chinese students, and then they hire folks digitally, virtually, to Zoom in to chat with Chinese students to increase their knowledge of English. So that's taking the asset that you work very, very well with young people and then you have taught, and you can work with this company and then make money towards your making your fourth quarter more comfortable. I'm actually building a YouTube channel. You're here with me right now. And as I move forward to it, it will be one of the assets, paychecks, as I live into my fourth quarter. Why YouTube? Well, I chose YouTube because I have worked on camera before. I worked as a fundraiser with a PBS station. So cameras are known to me. I also worked with a nonprofit hospital in their telemedicine area in promoting their telemedicine and setting up their telemedicine equipment from their grants. I know the equipment. I know how to make a video and get it on air. I am still learning how to be comfortable in this topic. I'm still learning what format will work best with my YouTube video. I know that my topic is about our fourth quarter of our life, that time from about 60 to what the government says is our average lifespan in America, which is 82. I know that you have to start preparing for that before you turn 60, or you should. And if you're not, you can still prepare, but that time from about 50 to 65, you really need to be preparing for that fourth quarter so you can just sit back. Maybe you teach a little to Chinese students online, but you're not going into the classroom all the time. Or maybe instead of clocking in at the factory all the time, you are just driving the Uber a little bit. And whatever you choose to do, it's allowing you to ease over into that fourth quarter of your time, making sure your budget is where you want to be with it, making sure that your not just your income, but your expenditures are where you want them to be. That's where that internal asset inventory is so important. And as we learn more about that and talk more about that, you're able to understand where those opportunities are and how they come to light. So with this YouTube channel, I've decided I will be really monitoring it with you, letting you know, how do you grow a YouTube channel? I have a very small subscriber list and viewership right now. That's good. That's okay. I need to learn more and step that up, and we'll be talking every single month about what does that look like? Where did we go this month? How did we do this month? How did it come to fruition this month? We'll also be talking quite a bit about the physical assets of short-term rental, home hacking, and long-term rental. I look forward to taking with me on a few of my Airbnb daily chores. I am in the process. My husband is right now remodeling a rental, and we'll be turning it into an Airbnb. So you'll be able to be with me as I set up the furniture and make it look like an Airbnb. And then you'll see how we launch it on Airbnb's app. We choose not to put them on VRBO and the other apps. I work exclusively with Airbnb. I like it for what I do. So we'll go on that journey together. But I want you to find your assets and your journey. So we'll be talking about that process, that I'm on that process, that I already took that asset inventory and I said, these are the areas I'm going to focus on. I know the screen time and the how to get a video put together, and I know real estate. So I'm going to put those two as my assets into work as my paychecks for my fourth quarter. And we'll see how mine are going as we go. But I want you to think about your own assets. Do the who. Who do you want to take into the fourth quarter with you? Who, what, where, when, why, and how. I want you to look at those 5 the who, what, where, when, why, and how. 5 W's and an H. And I want you to know who you are, what you have, what you can do in your for your paycheck that goes over into your fourth quarter. We're going to look at different ways that we can use what's called passive income. Now, passive income, some people, it could be controversial. Like, that's not passive. No, passive is never really passive. My Airbnbs are passive income, but I do have to work on them. I do have things I do with them. I have a cleaner. It's only once in a while that I need to clean. It's only once in a while that I need to go in and paint or change up some furniture. I could hire any of that done. But right now I'm a little more hands-on than I will be later in life. The other thing that's hands-on is actually the relational through the app on my phone. Today we had a wonderful guest that wanted to know some things to do in the neighborhood. I have a list of things, and so I sent him that list with the links. But if I hadn't responded right away to his question, he would have felt I was ignoring him, and he wouldn't have felt like he had a really great experience staying with our Airbnb. So I have to respond right away. If I'm not able to respond, I have a co-responder, my daughter in this case. My husband co-responds on 2 other Airbnbs, but on the 4 that I share with my daughter, she co-responds. And I'll say, I'm in a meeting, I can't respond for 2 hours. But today I responded, and the gentleman had his really interesting places to go visit in the area. And so that's something that's not completely passive, but is pretty passive because I hire the cleaning done, and an app takes care of their bookings. The app takes care of the money transferring to my account. So when we talk about passive income, that passive income might be for you or for that curriculum writing teacher. It might be that she has an inventory that she owns of curriculum, and she doesn't completely let them own that inventory. She leases it to them. They're only contracted to use that inventory for X amount of time. She may have science museum curriculum, a book of it, and then she leases it to the different museums that it's applicable to. I don't think she does, but that's something she could do. And she could have a website for that, right? A holding depository, and they maybe have a subscription to her science library. There's always a way. I always think of this. There's always a way to make your knowledge, your special gift, work for you. Here's another great example. I know a lady who started a bakery out of her kitchen. She passionately loves baking. She sold subscriptions to her baked goods, and she delivers you pick up every Friday, and then she's incorporated her son to help deliver on Fridays. And she did that for a few years. And then she realized it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. She has grandchildren now. So she has branched out into taking in interns to learn the baking. So she's become a teacher to bakers so that the community has more and more bakers, and she's not doing all the Friday baking. She has her class members, her interns, doing the baking too. But she's also earning from her students. And that's another way. You can just keep on working within your field, but you've become a mentor, a coach, a teacher of what you are doing on the daily. You are teaching them and supervising them as a teacher. And so that's her way of creating a more passive income from her bakery income. Where there's passion, where there's talent, and you have talent, I know you do, there's a way to make that your paycheck in your fourth quarter. So with that, I wish you a wonderful day and beginning of your journey of funding your fourth quarter and discovering what you want to do as we all move every day into the future.